This playthrough is rated T for teen.
Chapter 8, December 25th, 1980. Merry Christmas, Kyle Hyde. Greetings and salutations, viewers. Vauldemare back here with another episode of Last Window, The Secret of Cape West. In the last episode, we celebrated Christmas Eve with a good drink and friends, and just thought about the things going on. But now it's Christmas. Will it be the same as before, or will things take a turn? Let's find out. Thursday morning, December 25th. Waking up doesn't feel so bad this time. I can still feel some drink from last night sloshing around in my stomach. But as I drag myself out of bed and feel a draft of cool air, I soon feel better, like I can actually face the day. I open the blinds and stare out the window. The rain that was pouring down during the night must have stopped sometime this morning. Sunlight beyond the window is dazzling as it reflects off the leftover droplets of water. The still damp cityscape is strangely picturesque, like a scene from a film. I lean against the glass, take a moment to absorb what I'm seeing. Suddenly, the song that I hear last night, Promise, pops into my head for some reason. I pause. Why did it provoke such a nostalgic feeling in me when I heard it? Then the realization hit me. I must have heard it somewhere before. No dir, Kyle. After putting on some clothes, I slump onto the sofa. I try to unclutter my memories and recover the one that includes that song. And at last, a memory from 25 years ago emerges, and I recall the streets at night. That's it! The song I heard on the radio before. Then, it was Promise. It was after Dad had been murdered and we moved to Manhattan. I awoke suddenly at night only to hear the sound made by the falling rain. I left my bed and slipped behind the curtain. If I stood up on the tips of my toes, I could just about see through the window. The glass was slightly foggy, so I had to use the sleeve of my pajamas to wipe it. My sleeve was wet, though, but I could finally see outside. What I saw was the purple-lit glow of the Manhattan night. I had vowed that I wouldn't ever enjoy living there. I didn't know anyone, it was too cold. But for the first time, I found something I appreciated about the place. I wanted my mom to see that view. I cautiously opened the door to the neighboring room. To my surprise, my mom was still awake and standing beside the window. Realization came to me in an instant. Mom had been staring at the same view as I had. I remember telling her that I thought it looked beautiful. Mom came over, wrapped her arms around me, and just stood there beside me. There was a faint sound coming from the small radio Mom kept beside the bed. While holding me, my mom told me something. She said that my dad loved this song. As I looked up, my eyes met those of Mom. Then, for the first time since we arrived in that town, Mom looked different. Her eyes were brimming with tears. So that was how I knew that song. There was a song playing on the radio in our apartment. Well, that's an interesting memory, but what does that have to do with the plot? Well, let's find out. Huh? Kind of early for calls, huh? It's my phone. Alright. Who is it? It's gotta be Mom, right? Wishing us a Merry Christmas? Hello? Mom? I see you're at home. Yeah, no change there. What's on your mind? Nothing really. I just thought you'd be out. Sorry to disappoint. Don't take everything as a joke, Kyle. I just felt like I should call you, that's all. I didn't really have anything to say, though. Mom? You're worrying me, Mom. Why call if you thought I was going to be out? That's what I wanted to say to her, but decided to keep it to myself instead. I got your package, by the way. That baseball. It was the one Dad bought me all those years ago, wasn't it? So you remembered? Vaguely. I remember Dad and I used to play catch with it. That ball was very precious to your father. I think the reason was that you told him you wanted to be a baseball player. I remember saying something like that when I was a kid. Your father kept that ball so that each time you looked at it, he could see your smiling face telling him you wanted to be a pro one day. Kids say the craziest things. I don't remember that key, though. Was that the key Dad used for the car? No, it wasn't. Then what is it? When the case came back for the police, it was inside. It was there together with the baseball. I haven't got a clue what it's for, but I have the feeling it represents something that he wanted you to have. Mom, there's something I've been meaning to ask for a while now, and I think now's the time. But what is it? What do you want to ask me? Why did you ever get with a guy like Dad? What? He was in a less than respectable career, so why did you agree to marry him? Well, I fell in love, that's why. I fell in love with him and never wanted to be apart. Yeah, she fell for the bad boy, huh? ... The first time I met him was at the hospital where I worked. I was the one in charge of tending to the wounds he came in with. So it was a Nightingale syndrome, huh? So it was a classic case of patient and nurse falling in love. Yes, I suppose it was. When I met him, he was a total stranger, but I did know one thing. I knew that he was bearing a secret of some kind, and that if it ever came out, I wouldn't be able to stay with him. That's why I was prepared to be content without knowing. When did you find out what his secret was? About 2 years after you'd been born. He came clean about precisely what he did for a living. You mean he told you about the safe cracking? Yes. But once you knew, didn't you try and stop him? Kyle, maybe if you had, we wouldn't have had to live off the money earned by ripping people off, and he wouldn't have wound up dead 7 years later. It's not like that, Kyle. Then what is it like? After you were born, your father, he wanted to make a clean break and give up that line of work. But his associates weren't happy with this decision, and he... So he just kept on cracking safes? How can you just forgive him like that? Kyle... After hearing me shout down the phone at her, Mom drifts into a strange silence. Maybe it's because this was the first time we've ever discussed Dad openly. I'm starting to regret bringing the subject up in the first place. Let's stop talking about this. Yeah, maybe you're right. Cal, when you're ready to forgive your father and me, perhaps then we can continue this conversation. Merry Christmas, Kyle. Mom. That was a little awkward. It's like Thanksgiving sometimes. My buzzer suddenly sounds. Who's there? Now who wants to bug my day? Ah, it's Tony. It's you. Merry Christmas, Hyde. What the hell do you want this early in the morning? Back to your normal cold self, I see. You have to forgive me, but was it you who dumped your friend on Christmas Eve? Just to go paint the town red with Betty? I'm not denying it, but have a heart, man. What would you have done? I would have gone with a lady, too. Well, actually, depending on what I was at the time, what age I'm at, I probably would have just stayed home, actually. Anyway, how was the rest of the night down there? Just me and Sydney drank until after the place closed. Cool. He's tough to drink under the table, that one. Can't remember a single time I didn't pass out while he was still solid as a rock. So was your night? Mine? Yeah, to go with Betty. That's what you came here to tell me about anyway, right? You really can see right through me, man. So what happened? Well, we headed to the same place I took you to a couple of nights ago. Spent half the night chatting and getting out of control. Sounds like it went pretty well. Yeah, I thought so too, but now I'm not so sure. What do you mean? I'd actually kind of given up on Betty. Or I'd actually been giving up on Betty, but then she went and said some pretty confusing things. Then she told me to give something to you. Something pretty weird. You're going on a date and she says to give something to me? That's a little odd, dude. So what'd Betty say, my friend? She was a little drunk and slurring her words a bit, but she was going on about how there are two guys she likes. One who sets sparks flying and one she cares about in a different way. Cryptic. Her words, not mine. I just sat there nearly falling off my stool. But the next thing she said sure threw me a hell of a curveball. Tony, she said, what do you do when there's someone that you really care about who's close to you, you know? Someone who you've been friends with for a while. How do you tell them how much you care about them without them freaking out? Did she say anything else? Yeah, she said, the other guy's history now, and I want to take it further with that friend, but... So, what had you so confused? That's the thing, the way she looked at me when she said it. I started thinking that maybe that friend is me? But you didn't actually ask her, right? Nah, I kind of chickened out. Pathetic, isn't it? Maybe you're wrong. Maybe you're right. But for now, you should stick to the belief that she was talking about you and try to become that person to her. Only way to be sure, right? I guess so. You know what? Maybe it is me. Who knows? I mean, look at you. You can't get her out of your head. Ain't that the truth? Well, there you go, my friend. You know, women always like to have us guess what their feelings are. What'd she ask you to look after? Oh, this. It's some sort of notebook. Is it the death note? No. A notebook? She said it belongs to Rex, and he left it behind. Ooh. I take Rex's notebook. This might help us learn a little bit more about him. She said something about you being able to find some use for it. Can't say I understand what she was getting at, though. Why are we just staring at each other? Sometimes the game is weird sometimes. Right, I'm gonna go back to my room. This game has like awkward moments when you think about it. Tony leaves my room. What's Rex keeping written down in his notebook? I think it's time I found out. Alright, let's see what the notebook has to offer. Rex's notebook. Tony got this notebook from Betty. I wonder what's written in it. I opened Rex's notebook. Inside, there's something written. It reads, 1967, Condor disappeared. Jack Green disappeared. Jack Green? Who the hell is he? Well, now what? Huh? It's my phone again. So many things going on, baby. Well, it's gotta be Rachel, right? Hello? From the end there of the line, I hear a very familiar voice. Rachel? Merry Christmas, sweetie. I've got some good news for you. Ed's made a dramatic recovery and will be out of the hospital by the weekend. Well, that's good to hear. Yes, it's pretty comforting, but the doctor laid down the law. He said Ed really can't afford to push himself anymore. He has to avoid any unnecessary stress that could put strain on his heart. So I guess that means we better not give him too much trouble. I mean, you better not. You better not, but yeah, that's what I figured too. Yeah, Rachel doesn't seem like a troublemaker, at least not to Ed anyway. So how about you? Have there been any developments? Nothing too exciting, but there is something I need you to check out. What is it? I need you to check out someone connected to Rex Foster. Someone going by the name of Jack Green, who was under investigation by Rex. He may have disappeared off the grid after 1967. Jack Green, 1967. Got it. I'll see what I can dig up. Expect a call when I find something. Thanks. Interesting. Looks like I'm gonna be at a loose end till Rachel gets back to me about Jack Green. Hang on. I just remembered I need to return Sydney's record to him. Oh yeah, we have it and we listened to it, but we haven't brought it back. So, back to the cafe, I guess. I mean, it's such an old record like that, you know, you probably couldn't be able to buy it anymore. So, then again, by the vinyl kind of came back then again for a while, but I don't know if it'll keep coming back. It's one of those like retro things, you know. Anyway, let's head back to the cafe. Maybe we could get more alcohol. I don't know. Up and rare to go, huh? Sydney, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Mr. Hyde. Thanks again for last night. It was a refreshing change of pace. And I enjoyed myself too. I think last night is going to be a Christmas Eve I'll be sure to remember. Yeah, you and me both. Would you care for anything to eat? Nah, I'm good. I just came to return that record you loaned me. Just hand him some, like, fake record or whatever. He's happy that we gave it back. I hand Sydney back his record. Thanks for that. Did you listen to it? Yeah, I took it home and listened to it all night. Is that so? It's not the kind of thing I usually listen to, but the song's nostalgic to me. Thanks to your record, I had a bit of a sentimental moment alone in my room. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. No. It does you good to come out of yourself from time to time. Yeah, I think it does. Now, the awkward moment of what leaving and doing all our lives. Actually, Mr. Hyde, there was something I wanted to talk to you about. Yeah? Actually, What is it? Just come out and say it. I wanted to ask you for help with something. It's about Claire. Has something happened to her? She's been acting funny ever since she got home last night, and she hasn't said a word to me all morning. However, many times I ask her, she won't say a thing. I'm at the end of my tether. So what do you want me to do? I want you to find out what the problem is. Would you mind speaking to her on my behalf? Sometimes when I look at her, all I see is a naive young girl. If you agree to speak to her, you'll find her cleaning the billiards room. I'm counting on you, Mr. Hyde. I guess you could be. Okay, well, let's head into the billiards room and find her then. Oh, hey, Claire. Cleaning up, I guess? Claire?
I'm sorry, but I'm busy cleaning at the moment.
Yeah, she's definitely in a mood.
Oh dear.
Hold it. Claire. Are you still worried about your dad?
Yeah, I am. You remember what we talked about the day before Christmas Eve? Did you get around to asking him about it? Did you find out if there's someone special in his life?
Well, I have a guess of who it is, but I never got around to asking him outright. I kind of got the impression from the way he was acting.
So what you're trying to tell me is that you didn't ask, right? I'm not interested in maybes. I need to know for sure.
Claire?
After all, this could be the last chance.
Oh yeah, before they close this place down. And then they might go their own ways or whatever.
I knew it. I just knew it. I had a feeling all along that he wouldn't keep his promise.
Oh, promise, huh? Eh. Well, okay, what's the last chance? Last chance for what, Claire?
The last chance for him and Mom to get back together.
Ooh. Yeah.
If Dad doesn't step in and do something right away, it'll be too late. Mom's gonna move to Boston. That's what I mean when I say this is the last chance.
I mean, it sounds like Sydney generally, feels bad about what he's done and regrets it. So, there's always a chance for recompense. But, usually people get separated. They very rarely get back together because, it's like the hurt or whatever. It's just too much to really do it. So you're holding out hope for your folks to give it a second try. Is that it?
That's right. I want them to get back together more than anything. I've been wishing it for ages now.
I see. How old are you, Claire? I mean, that's the thing usually young kids want to have happen.
That's where I was last night, Mr. Hyde, with Mom. That's when she told me about her plans to leave for Boston. I asked her straight if she'd give her dad a second chance to try to start over. This is how she responded. She said that she still loved him even now, but that she couldn't return to Lucky's Cafe. Sure has good memories for her, but also some bad ones too. She was scared that returning here would bring the bad ones back, and she couldn't stand it.
What kind of bad memories?
Memories about Dad's loans.
Yeah, it was a money situation that had her leave.
She told me all about.
I thought you were supposed to marry someone for sickness and health, poorer or richer. You know what I mean?
She told me all about it. After they fell out, business started to decline at the cafe. Mom hated the idea of borrowing money off a certain person, but Dad did anyway. That's what eventually led to them breaking up.
Seems like a loose. Like I said, the marriage vows say for richer and poorer, sickness and health, but a lot of people tend to just skedaddle when the things get tough, huh? I'm not trying to blame her specifically. I'm just saying that's how people seem to be. When the going gets tough, they run away. What promise? Claire, what promise was that?
It was one Dad made after Mom left.
What did he promise?
He promised something on the first Christmas without Mom. It was a sad Christmas for me. Dad was busy at the cafe and I was all alone. I waited up until he finished work and returned home. He was a little drunk when he got there, though. Still, when he saw me, he pulled me into a hug and said that we would find happiness. Just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
He promised that we'd be happier than we'd ever been before.
Happier than you'd ever been, huh?
He forced himself into a smile at the time, but I knew the truth. I could see past his smile to the tears that fell from his eyes. I knew that Mom leaving was the hardest thing he'd ever had to deal with in his life.
It's the same with when a partner passes away after being together for 50 plus years. It just, for most people, don't live much longer after that because it just breaks their hearts so badly.
That's why I promised him something too that night. I promised I'd also look for a way for us to be happy.
And that's why you started to think of them getting back together, right?
Right, that's all I've thought about since. I don't know about what Dad's thinking anymore.
It's always hard to tell what a person thinks unless they straight out say it. I mean, some people are better at it than others, but who was this person you borrowed money from?
It was Miss Patrice.
Mags?
That's why I heard he got the money he needed from her. Mom's never been able to forgive him for that.
And you knew about this?
No, I had no idea. I'd never heard about it until last night. This is the last thing Mom told me last night. She said Dad still hadn't repaid all the money he borrowed. Who was I trying to kid? Dreaming that Mom and Dad would get back together and we'd all live happily ever after. I certainly let my imagination get the better of me, didn't I? I should have known it was never going to happen. I was stupid to even think it could.
Claire. As we get older, we learn to become more accepting of each other's shortcomings. ... I'm sure your folks are no different either. So if they really still love each other enough to put that whole ordeal in the past, who's to say that your dream won't come true after all?
My dream?
It's all down to how much affection they still have for each other. I'll tell you what your dad told me last night. I'll tell you just how much your dad still loves your mom.
Mr. Hyde?
You take everything too much to heart, Claire. But sooner or later, both of them are going to sit up and notice how you're feeling. When that happens, they'll finally be able to answer each other's questions. That's why the best thing you can do is keep that smile on your face and stop sighing.
You're right, Mr. Hyde. I need to look on the bright side.
Always look on the bright side of life. Sorry. I'm still curious, though. Curious about that one question, though. Well, okay. Well, let's think about this. So, maybe we should keep going on. Now let's talk to Sydney about this whole situation, shall we? Sydney, how'd it go, Mr. Hyde? Did you manage to find out what's been troubling Claire? Asked her, all right, but she's got some serious worries on her mind. She's worried about love. About what? I feared it might be something like that. I should have known something was up when she left at that hour last night. So what's going on? Should be hooked up with some guy? Is he treating her badly, y'all? Whoa, hold on there, Sydney. Let's not jump to conclusions. But you just told me she's having problems with her love life. No, didn't say love life. She said love. This is what you said, wasn't it? Not really, no. It's got nothing to do with her love life. She was worried about her mom and you. Her mom and me? It was her mom she met up with last night. You know what she's hoping? She's hoping that you and her mom will give it another try. So that's what it's all about. Also, there's something I need to ask you. What is it? Yeah, what's happening about Max's loan? That was an interesting twist. What happened with the loan from Max? How on earth did you find out about that, Mr. Hyde? Claire let me in on it, and it was her mom who told her. I see. Well, it all goes back to when we needed money to get this place up and running. Miss Patrice was kind enough to give us what we needed. It all stems from me knowing her late husband. Oh. I've been paying in installments each month. In half a year, my debt will be settled. She said she has too many bad memories to do with money troubles. For her, it's a very real reason not to give you a second chance to get back together. So that's the root of it. She still doubts me. Well, what's she done to prove herself, though? I'm saying it usually divorce is a two-way street. You know what I mean? How did you know Mag's husband? He was a customer in the restaurant here when this place was still a hotel. I would wait on his table a lot. I used to work there when I was younger, you see. Anyway, George Patrice, or Mrs. Patrice's husband, as I should call him, was a regular. Very partial to cheesecake, as I recall. What kind of man was he? I remember telling me that he used to play the sax in his youth. But at the time when I knew him, he was the owner of the several eateries around town. To sum it up, he wasn't afraid to spread his money around. All the waiters jostled for the right to wait on his table. Of course, all they were after were the tips he'd offer them and nothing more. He'd always be around when the hotel was having an evening event. In particular, he always came to the parties they called Scarlet Star. There's that name again. I haven't heard that in a while. What connection could this have to the thing I'm looking for? Let's keep asking. What's Claire's mom doubt about you? She thinks there's something between me and Miss Patrice. She does? It was just something my wife was worried about. Well, ladies can be very, very jealous caddies, if you know what I mean. You see, when Miss Patrice was standing trial, I believed that she was innocent. My wife was convinced she was guilty, and from that point, she was sure that Miss Patrice and I had something going on. Meaning that when I borrowed the money, she refused to forgive me for what I had done. So was there any truth to it? You and Miss Patrice, I mean. Or was it simply all a huge misunderstanding on Claire's mom's part? Of course it was just a misunderstanding. I only had eyes for her. There was never anything between me and Miss Patrice. And it doesn't stop ladies from being jealous, though. There were parties called Scarlet Star? Yeah, there were. Every month, Hotel Cape West would hold a party on a date with number 6 in it. Those parties would be called Scarlet Star. How'd they earn that name, though? I couldn't tell you. I haven't got the faintest idea, I'm afraid. The other parties that were held there had similar names like Gold Star or Silver Star. And those were held on dates with the numbers of 3 or 9. What kind of parties were they? Just run-of-the-mill affairs, really. You know, the type with food, drinks, a live band, dance floor. I was there on a number of occasions. They were all pretty similar. Just something to spend money on and give a reason to party or whatever. Sydney, when did Mag stand trial? Well, let's just forget about that, shall we? Come on, man. You can't leave me hanging, Sydney. Tell me about it. No. So you can't tell me, huh? Not really. I can't beat it out of you, but I can ask you nicely. Will you tell me? Yeah, I suppose I could. Seeing as it's you I'm talking to, but you have to promise to keep it to yourself, mind. Of course. 13 years ago, Miss Patrice was a suspect in a certain incident. The jury returned a verdict of innocent, though, and she was freed. Certain incident, huh? Yeah, what kind of incident was it? She was suspected of killing her husband. What the hell? She was a suspect in a murder case? She was indeed. Sydney, why was her husband? Mr. Hyde? I've got nothing more to say on the matter. Can we leave it there, please? The verdict was innocent, that's all that counts. I really don't want to talk about it anymore. Well, did they find out who killed him? I understand. Yeah, no, that's the question. If she didn't do it, then who did it? I just need to make sure. But you will keep this discussion between us, won't you? I really don't want anything I've said about Miss Patrice to get out. I only told you because I trust you. Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. And we understand each other. The last thing I wanted to do is cause any trouble for Miss Patrice. And that was everything you want to ask me about, Mr. Hyde? I do have a cafe to run, you know. Actually, there is something else. What do you want to know? Do you still love your wife? Do I what? I want to hear how you really feel about her. Well, I love her. There's no denying it. I just haven't got the confidence to tell her. To tell her you love her? Not exactly. To tell her that I want us to give it another try. You understand what I'm saying, don't you, Mr. Hyde? Even when two people really love each other, it doesn't guarantee it'll work out. Yeah, don't I know that? The real reason we separated wasn't to do with me. When I think about how it happened, I can see exactly why she walked out. If only I could see how things the way I see them now. I tried to console myself by making her the villain and brandishing her as heartless. But the truth is, I was a fool. The worst thing is that it took losing my wife for me to notice how she was feeling. That's why I'm afraid. I'm afraid that if we did get back together, I'd do the same thing over again. I'm sure that she's singing along the exact same lines, though. You may feel unsettled, but you clearly want to have another shot at happiness. Mr. Hyde. Claire told me about the promise you made her. She did? She told me about the first Christmas you spent without your wife, and when you told her that you'd find happiness again together. She'd been thinking about that ever since. Well, her idea of happiness is having her family back and all living together. Mr. Hyde. It's not my place to dictate to you how your family should be. But I'll tell you this for free. There aren't many families that can get back together. Most of them who tried fail. Ain't that a fact? A sad but true one. Okay, I need to be somewhere else. 3 p.m. Some dour moments there, especially on Christmas. But that's usually when the emotions come on. Oh, again, Mr. Hyde. Hi, Sydney. Oh, Mr. Hyde. You were talking about the hotel the other day, weren't you? After you left, I remembered another story that may interest you. Another story? Would you like to hear it? Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it for the world. I thought you'd be keen, but not quite that much. Well, you know the elevator started working the other day, right? Yeah, apparently the repairs were all finished. That very elevator has been in use since this host place was a hotel. It's a lot more temperamental than anyone would have you know. Sounds a little worrying. Actually, only yesterday I got trapped inside it. You did? Well, there you go. It's a safety hazard, no mistake. The strange thing is, back in those days, it used to stop and start even more frequently. Even stranger still, it always stopped between the 4th floor and the roof. Between the 4th floor and the roof? You should have heard some of the things the staff shouted when it happened. Of course, I had regular work done on it, but it always seemed to have problems. Nothing's changed it? Well, that's the real mystery. When this place was renovated, it started working perfectly. It did? Yeah, so I guess when it stopped with you in it, it was just your bad luck. Could well be. Just leave it up to Kyle to have an intuition about that, so. Now let me ask him about, something I can help you with? Nah, it's nothing. Oh, okay. Alright, let's, I was thinking if he had anything else, so, okay. For some reason I thought he had some extra dialogue, but something that Sydney said has got me thinking. He said that there was a person who always attended the Scarlet Star's parties. I think I need to find a little more about that person. And then we gotta ask, well, the only person we gotta talk to about that is George Patrice, which obviously he's dead, so we gotta talk to Max and see what she says about that.
Hello there, Mr. Hyde.
Miss Patrice, you wouldn't by any chance have any free time at the moment, would you?
As a matter of fact, I would.
There's something I'd like to ask you.
And what might that be?
Let's see, I'd like to hear about your... Yeah, I'd like to hear about your... Wait, what's the top one? Oh, a court case now. We don't want to ask about that, so... I'd like to hear about your husband.
Why would you want to know about him?
When we last spoke, you told me a little bit about your late husband. You said he enjoyed jazz music and he used to play the saxophone. Saxophone.
That's right.
I must confess, I'm into jazz music too. I often listen to it in my room. The best kind of jazz always features a saxophone, don't you think?
Well, if you say so.
So once I heard that your late husband played it, I instantly became interested. Would you be so kind as to tell me a little bit more about him?
Well, certainly, since you asked so nicely. Please come inside.
Into the witch's den itself. No, we gotta get the scoop. The need to know info. Miss Patrice, your husband played the tenor saxophone, didn't he?
Yes, that's right.
When did he start? As a pro, I mean.
He was already part of an established band at the age of 20.
So he must have studied how to play it somewhere. Do you know where?
He told me that he taught himself how to play.
That's actually possible. I've heard musicians that know how to play music, but don't know how to actually read music, stuff like that. Because they just learn from, like, just, you know, following. That's how my dad learned how to play, apparently.
That he was into jazz from the moment he was born.
What kind of person was he?
He was a real gentleman, both masculine and invigorating at the same time. Those qualities guaranteed him a hit with the ladies.
When did he throw in the towel and stop playing?
I'm sorry.
Well, he went on to run several eateries around town, didn't he? And he was a regular guest at the hotel restaurant here too, right?
Who told you that, Mr. Hyde?
No one. Yeah, Sydney. Let's just rat him out now. I looked it up. Found out all about him from the old newspaper article I got from the library. It was right there alongside one about your court case.
Seems like you've gone to great lengths to investigate me, Mr. Hyde.
Doesn't it?
Tell me, why is it that you've been investigating me?
I told you I'm interested. I'm keen to learn more about the kind of stuff your late husband played. Not to mention about you, seeing as you're a widow just like my mom.
I see. So you know everything, it would seem.
Well, I don't know about that, but... Miss Patrice. Well, in this case, it doesn't really matter what we ask, but what's so funny?
I just had to laugh. I have things in my past I would be happy never to share with anyone, and I was planning on keeping it that way until we all gone our separate ways. Yet as the day we all leave draws ever closer, you choose now to suddenly develop an interest in my past.
Weird how things work with people in real life, huh? It's like when people pass away, they only then did they learn everything about them, you know what I mean?
I just found that very amusing.
Miss Patrice.
I'll answer your questions. I was suspected of murdering my husband. That was 13 years ago. When he and I were living together, our house was burgled one day. The burglar struck me and knocked me unconscious.
When I awoke, my husband's body was lying lifeless beside me. In my right hand, I was clutching the gun that was used to kill him. I was framed by somebody. The evidence was more than sufficient for them to hold me as a suspect, but it seemed that fate smiled on me the day as I was declared innocent. Yeah, but did they actually catch the real culprit? That's the real question. No, they never found him, though I was declared innocent. People always remember the accusations. Mud sticks, or whatever the saying is. Yeah, that's like that in real life. You'd be surprised how many people get off free, or it's clearly proven they're innocent, but people will still believe that they were guilty, just because they were in the trial in the first place. What you said about my late husband is quite true, Mr. Hyde. He was a regular face at this place when it was a hotel. On the day I was acquitted, I took control of the money my husband left to me, and purchased the hotel. I wanted to own the place he held so dear when he was alive. And that, Mr. Hyde, is all this lonely widow can tell you. Huh? That appears to be the phone. Would you mind waiting here for me, Mr. Hyde? Huh. Mags makes her way to the other room to answer the phone. Guess I better stay here until she's done. Now that I think of it. I'm sure there's a photo of her husband around here. Yeah, we checked it a while back, but now we actually have a legitimate reason to do it, so. I think it was this one? There's a man playing a tenor saxophone in this picture. This must be George Patrice. There's a photograph in the frame. The photograph is a cheerful young woman, but that's Miss Patrice. There's the two of them together. This picture has the signatures of George and Margaret on it. That must be a picture of Mags when she was younger. She's wearing a very uniquely designed necklace. Interesting. This photograph is of two young women, and based on their clothes, they must be dancers. This is a pretty old picture. Yeah, it's one of the Mags. And who's the other girl? Huh? The door to the room opens and Mags walks in. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Hyde. This is no problem. I took the liberty of looking at the pictures on the shelf. Oh, these old things. When was the picture of them taken? Yeah, when was it you and your husband? Right after we were married. That necklace you see still gets worn today. Oh yeah, you can see it on her character design. It was a present from my late husband. It's one of a kind. It's an impressive item, that's for sure. I love this picture of us more than any of the other pictures I have. I'm sure your mother has one of her own that she values above the rest too. As Mags uttered those words, I think to myself, Mom doesn't have a single picture of her and Dad. Not one. That is a little weird. Then again, there are people that just don't like taking pictures. Like, I'm one of those people. I don't like taking pictures or having pictures taken of me. I just don't like it. Not like I feel like the film's gonna take over my soul. I just don't like it. Yeah. The picture hanging on the wall with the two women, is one of them you? You're absolutely right. Can you tell though, Mr. Tide? Tell which one of them is me? Oh, that's a tough one. No, it's the one on the right. You're the one on the right. I am indeed. Well done. Who's the woman in the shot with you? She was a dear friend of mine. A fellow dancer. A dancer? Yes, it may be hard to believe now, but I was once a dancer. Oh. What? Are you okay? What's wrong? My head, it hurts. Are you okay? I'm sorry, I sometimes get like this. It's my reminder of the events that took place during that awful time 13 years ago, like some weird type of PTSD or something like that. You better rest. I'll leave you in peace. That's very kind of you. But before you go, Mr. Hyde, may I ask you a favor? Please keep what I've told you to yourself today to yourself. I swear I won't breathe a word to anyone. Okay, time for me to be on my way. Indeed. I leave Mag's room. Well, that was interesting. Mags. Seems she still has a somewhat seems she had a somewhat colorful life. Mr. Hyde. Huh? Dylan. You just seem to pop up in all the strangest places, Dylan. Can I speak to you? What's it about? You went to Miss Patrice's room, didn't you? Yeah, that's right. What did the two of you talk about in there? Now, this guy seems to be super, super nosy. We don't want to tell the truth. We talked about leaving this place. Ah, I see. Are you curious? Nah, not really. Anyway, I gotta be on my way. What? This is a guy just giving off some strange vibes. Dylan goes directly into Mag's room. It's my pager. I better head back to my room. Wait, should we let him go in there with Mag's having her issue? You know, her headache or whatever? Yeah, it's probably fine. Dylan's just the repairman, right? So. Oh, I'm surprised he could just walk into a room like that, though. But anyway. That's probably it. Alright, let's see what Rachel's got for us. Time to give Rachel a call. Hello, Avon calling.
Red Crown, how may I help you?
It's Kyle.
I've got some information for you on Jack Green.
What'd you find out?
Well, his name appeared in the 1967 obituaries. It said that Jack Green, a 30-year-old reporter, died in a car accident due to major internal complications and blood loss.
A car accident? Did you see who he reported for?
I did. It was Los Angeles Beat, the same place as Rex Foster.
Were the two closely connected?
Yeah, they were. They spent 3 years working together in the editorial department. And what's more interesting is when Rex Foster quit his job, he quit just 3 weeks after Jack Green's death. After that, things really get strange.
In what way?
It turns out that Jack Green's final article is about the organized crime group Condor. The title was, unsurprisingly, The Truth Behind Condor. It was actually the first part of a series, but Green ended up dying, so only the first part was ever published.
Probably found out too much. It got taken out. I really need to get a closer look at that article, Rachel.
Understood. I'll see if I can get a hold of a copy for you.
Can't you just go to the library? I'm counting on you. I think libraries in 1980 had microfiche you could check out. But
there's something else that stood out too. It's about the area the accident happened in. The location was along Route 971. I knew there was something familiar about that place, so I looked it up. It happened on a road between the Los Angeles Beat Company building and Hotel Cape West.
There seems to be a lot of factors to suggest that was more than this coincidence.
Right. Lastly, I've got a message from you from Ed.
You left me a message?
He said that there must be some kind of clue that connects the guests who attend to the regular parties held at the hotel and the Scarlet Star. That's all he told me.
I see.
I'll be in touch when I have more information.
Jack Green died 13 years ago. He was writing an article about Condor. Also the message I received from Ed. The one about the connection between the Scarlet Star and the party guests. Now I think about it, Cindy said something too. He'd always be around when the hotel was having an evening event. In particular, he always came to the parties they called the Scarlet Star. Every month, Hotel Cape West would hold a party on a date with number 6 in it. Those parties would be called Scarlet Star. The guests who attended the Scarlet Star parties. That's it! Maybe that photo album I found on the 4th floor could shed some light. Alright, so let's go to the, so we need to look at the, oops. And back up there. So we need to look at the old photo album. Yeah, let's take a look at these. Now, what am I looking for in these? Looks like that looks like a regular party. By the way, this is the one we're trying to look at, but I'm just taking a look at. Nothing really stands out. The one we actually want, I just wanted to look at the pictures. We really want to go on the second page. Nothing really stands out. Yeah, just taking a look at the back up, go on to the next page. Hello there, red dress. All right, Matrix. Hey, I know that necklace. Yeah, Miss Patrice right there. Of course. That necklace Mags always has around her neck. Which means this woman. It's Mags Patrice. Dun 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 dun. Just as I thought. Mags in the picture of the Scarlet Star party. Looks like she just earned herself another chat with me. Maybe she's feeling better after her headache, or maybe she faked her headache to get us away. Who knows? Yeah. That's just good news. Huh? Huh? Who's that? Charles. Hey. Ah. I can't. It's been a while since I studied French. Mince Hello. Looks like somebody didn't want us to be seen, am I right?
It's nothing.
So you didn't hand back the spare key to 205 like you said you would, huh?
That's right, I didn't.
What were you doing in there, Charles?
That would be...
Quit stalling. Spit it out. What's the matter? Did I catch you up to no good or something? Anyway, get back inside. We've got stuff to discuss. Hey, I was wondering what Charles' whole business is going on here. Let's find out. Charles, tell me. What were you up to in here?
I can't say.
You can't say, huh? Well, we'll ignore it for now. ...
Okay, here goes. I'm just a little shaken up. I was doing something I didn't want other people to know about. I'm embarrassed that you found me misdied.
What do you want, what don't you want other people to know?
I don't want them to know that I'm working on a script in here.
That's it? A script for what?
It's a screenplay for a movie, actually. I've been entered into a screenplay competition.
A screenplay? And you're writing it here? Why can't you do it in your own room?
Don't ask me that. I come in here to do it because I want to make it more authentic.
Oh, he's on a tour. Ooh.
There's only a couple of days until I have to submit it. Please, Miss Hyde, let me continue to use this room until then. Don't tell Miss Patrice. Miss Hyde, this is my one big chance.
Okay, what do you mean by more authentic?
Billy left his old typewriter in this room and I'm writing my screenplay on that. It's the key to making me look like a pro to the people who check the entries.
Are you serious? Could you possibly make any less sense if you tried?
The typewriter Billy left in this room. It's not a standard one, it's very special. It's now a top Hollywood screenwriter. He's now a top Hollywood screenwriter, but when he started out, he used this very typewriter. There's something very special about it, like it has some sort of power. That's why I'm using it to write my screenplay on. I'm sure it's going to guarantee my screenplays will be successful.
If it's a typewriter that's so special, can't you just take it into your own room?
No, I have to write it in this room.
What made you believe in all that superstitious nonsense? Sorry, nonsense was what I added to it.
It doesn't matter. What does matter is that I do believe in. I must finish.
Why is this your one big chance, Charles?
Because if this screenplay doesn't make me successful, I'm going to have to leave my university and return to France.
Is that so?
I made a promise to my grandfather. If I can't make a name for myself during my year here, I have to return home. Then I'll have to take over the family business.
The family business?
Does that sound strange to you, Mr. Hyde?
Not really. I'm just surprised that someone of your class is living in a place like this. It's unexpected, that's all. Did you choose this place so you could study how other people live their lives? Or were you just curious about something?
Neither. I searched for this place and decided I had to live here.
You did?
I wanted to use this building's secret as a basis for my screenplay.
What's the secret then? What do you mean by a secret? Charles?
Well, Mr. Hyde, you know that there was an incident here, right? You know, back when there was a hotel.
Did everyone know about this but me?
What kind of incident was it? A murder. When this place was still a hotel 13 years ago, somebody was murdered here.
So he knows about the murder of Kathy McGrath?
How come you know about that? I heard the story from my grandfather before coming to study here. He visited LA on a number of occasions in the past on business. He even stayed here a few times. He knew that on the final day of the building functioning as a hotel, somebody was killed. I was in awe of what he told me. When I came to LA, I investigated the place that was once the hotel. I discovered that not only that it was in an apartment building, but also that the murder case had never been solved.
So let me get this straight. You're basing your screenplay on the murder. And that's the reason you chose to stay here?
Precisely.
I see. Charles, as this means a lot to you and it's your big chance and all, I'm gonna keep your coming here and here a secret.
Thank you, Mr. Hyde.
I'm sure this is going to become a wonderful story. The title is Door to the Past. It's about a murder inside a closed-down hotel. The murderer is a member of the hotel front desk staff. He conceals the evidence on the 4th floor of the hotel. I've been using Mr. White from Room 306 as my basis for the killer. Something about him fits the profile of a killer, don't you think? I'm sure he'd be thrilled to hear that. I suppose I won't know unless I ask him. Perhaps I can add you to the story, too. There's still room for an accomplice. Don't even think about it. Come on, it'll be fun. Besides, I know what you've been up to. What does that mean? I know that you sometimes go up and have a look around the 4th floor. You're just like the bad guy in my story. What? Don't worry, though. You're not the only person who likes looking around up there. I've been up there lots of times, too. What the hell for? I started going up there a while back when I was looking for inspiration for my story. I took an 8mm camera with me and did some filming, too. I got some really interesting something really interesting when I was up there. Yeah, what'd you tape? I'm sure you'd like to tell me. I'm sure you'd like me to tell you, so I'll make you a deal. If you tell me what you were looking for when you went up there, I'll show you the film. Great. I don't know if I call it blackmail, but you got yourself a deal. Now show me the film. Alright, so now we need to go up to his room. Alright, let's go to his room. So this is Charles's room. And I've never been to Charles's room yet, so. Charles, show me the 8mm film you took on the 4th floor. I will, but don't forget our promise. You ought to tell me what you're looking for when you got there. Same as you. I don't understand. I'm investigating an incident that happened here quite a while ago. That's why I've been spending time on the 4th floor. That incident you're talking about, Miss Hyde. When did you find out about it? I got wind of it not long ago. Just after I found out we'd all be leaving this place. I learned that something terrible happened here in the past. I mean, would you believe it? Just days before we'll all be out of here? I get caught up in an ancient case I know nothing about. So there you go, the reason why I've been going up to the 4th floor. That's quite interesting, but there's one more thing I'd like to ask you. I haven't got all day, you know, kid. But why are you so keen on finding out about such an old case? I mean, I'm interested because I want to use this as the basis for my story. But what about you, Miss Hyde? I've always been the kind of person who enjoys solving problems. I used to be a detective, after all. You did? Were you really a detective? Yeah, I was, up until 4 years ago, anyway. I guess the reason I'm so keen on this case has something to do with my detective instincts. So now you're a detective salesman? I had no idea you're such an interesting person. If you don't mind, I'd like to hear more about your past case and job. Listen, kid, I don't care if you find me interesting or not. My past is nothing special. You should stick to that unsolved case that happened here instead. Now show me that film you took, Charles. In just a moment, Miss Hyde. I'm pretty sure this is where I left it. Well, sorry about that. Well, here it is, my 8mm film, just like I promised. But we don't have a player, or an old reel to play it. I received the 8mm film from Charles. Can you make it what's in it, Mr. Hyde? Well, I guess we could look at it through the light, just to check it. Let's have a look. Looks like somebody's been caught on camera. But who was it? That's the question. But the looks of what that watch they're wearing, it seems to be a man. But I wonder who it could be. It's a shame this film doesn't show us their identity. Who would be up there on the 4th floor this late at night? I'd really like to know who they are and what they're doing. You and me both, kid. Judging from the build and the kind of clothes they've got on, I'm sure it's a guy. What's with the fire door up there serving as a fairly good security? What would that fire door serving as a fairly good security? I thought most people wouldn't be able to get in. So, you think the person on this film is somebody already living in this building? Certainly a possibility. You could be right. I've got it! I know a way we can learn the true identity of the person on this film. There's a way we can find out right away. How you gotta do that? Magic? No, photographs! To help me get the characters right in my story, I took photos of the interior. When I did that, I occasionally cut some of the tenants in the shots. Time you showed me those photos, I think. I have some developed ones right here. There's one still in the camera, though. Not developed, huh? That's not gonna help us much. What if that's the crucial one? Fear not, we can develop it, dear. You can do that? But he's got a film development studio? Yeah, back in the day, a film just didn't pop up. You actually had to develop the film, which was a process all on its own. Sure, I can. I've got everything we need right here, and we can use the bathroom to do it in. There's one small problem, though. My red lamp is broken. Mr. I, do you have anything we could use instead? Something like a red lamp, huh? That's not gonna be easy, but no, I'm gonna have to look around. All right, so we need to find a red lamp for it. But before we do that, let's take a look around in his room before we leave, since we haven't actually checked his room yet. Everything looks clean and tidy down here. I see Charles keeps his crockery in the same place I do. There's an extra little cupboard squeezed in the corner, has a lock on it. If I look at the extractor, it will help me obsessively judge how clean everything is. I feel Charles has done a good job of cleaning his exterior, keeping his exterior clean. The stove is clean, not a spot of dirt, dust, or rust. These cupboards are full of pots and pans. There's nothing important in these drawers, just little bits and pieces. The sink is gleaming. I'm reminded of Tony's room, and the comparison ain't kind to Tony. There's cupboards above the sink, just like in my room. There's cupboards above the sink, just like I was. Why did they give the same one? Oh, I can't see any dirt or even any scratches. Charles clearly uses his cupboards with care. What a loser. The refrigerator is white, like pretty much every other refrigerator I've ever seen. There are different colored refrigerators, but it's not very common. Not a speck of dust on the white wash basin. It's because it costs money to dye the porcelain or whatever. The mirror is clearly seeing a lot of attention from a cleaning cloth. If I look at my face all day, it isn't my idea of fun, besides I have better things to do. Yeah, I don't like looking at myself in the mirror either. Maybe it's because I don't like the way I look, I don't know. It's a great shower curtain, truly beautiful. It's beautiful. The workbench looks pretty sturdy, but does he have to sit on the toilet to work? What? Okay. Oh, he's like the person who brings his phone into the bathroom and spends more time in the bathroom than they should. I'm not prepared to unravel the entire roll just in case there are any clues. The toilet's as clean as can be. It's a vase containing yellow flowers. Wouldn't it not grow very well in an isolated area like the bathroom? It's a tray with tongs lying on it. He obviously developed photos in this room. Charles has shampoo and conditioner on top of the toilet for some reason. The brands are popular with young people these days, I assume. There are an oddly shaped light on the wall. That's probably for his film stuff. Why am I investigating Charles's bathtub? For what it's worth, it's nice and clean. I think that's okay. It's always funny when Kyle asks himself why he does things. He's like it's almost like a third party or some weird spirit is telling me to do things. This lamp is a simple classic design. An antenna is sticking out of the television. Yeah, remember actually people still use antennas to an extent, but yeah, remember back in the day where you had to get signals, you had to use antennas. The TV isn't turned on, however. I probably shouldn't go around turning on other people's TVs. That would be a little awkward. Red flowers and a black vase. Stylish. The TV stand has drawers built into it. Let's see what's inside. There's some kind of small black container in the drawer. Might have something to do with developing photographs. These look like small clips of some kind. There's film rolls. These are films for the camera. They're out of their packaging. There must be photos on them already. It's a bag of drying agent. We'll have to go through this again later, just for the pictures. The tablecloth has geometric patterns on it. It's a white sofa. The design of this lamp complements the furniture nicely. There's a table next to the sofa. I think it's only there as a place to put the lamp. Yeah, that's usually how it is, like in my house. I only have certain things up just to put light sources in. I don't have a, I guess we can't check his bed for some reason. Not that it really matters. Oops. Beside the desk, there's a bust made of plaster. Why the hell does Charles have a plaster bust in his room? I don't know. Oops. There, I know nothing else for that. Nope, okay. Just making sure. These shelves are made of sturdy planks. I couldn't have assembled them better myself. At the top, there are a set of box files. They each have a label reading negatives. These books are about photography. This shelf is full of books about filmmaking. That makes sense. Charles wants to be a director. He must have read these to help him hone his craft. Yeah, I guess so. Oops. Looks like a fluorescent lamp. This notebook has a title on the front. It says report. Some high quality writing paper is on the desk along with a fountain pen. I don't think this is the same paper that was used for the order sheet. Yeah, we already found out which the typewriter that was using that though. Okay. And there's my flowers there. But anyway, let's go back to our room. So we need to find a red bulb. So or something red anyway. It doesn't have to be a bulb per se, but yeah, we've seen something red before. Remember what we got yesterday? Well, when we get there, I'll show you. Alright, should be over here, I believe. Up there it is. Yeah, the wine bottle. It's the bottle of wine I got from Rachel. A 10-year-old Bordeaux red. Might have it with my next meal. The wrapping around this wine bottle is translucent and a deep red color. Huh? Ah, now this might work. Good thing I'm too lazy to put things in the trash. Da 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 da. I take the red wrapping. Let's see what that says there. Red wrapping. This was wrapped around the bottle of wine Rachel sent me. 8mm film. Got this from Charles. It shows part of the man who was on the 4th floor. And it just shows the picture of the man. Okay. Do you know who the man is? Do you know what the man said? Do you know what the man said? I forgot how the song goes now. Do 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 do. I think that's how it went. Anyway. Alright, time to go back up to 305. Oh, right. Whoops. Almost bypassed it. Found it. Show me what you found, Mr. Hyde. Sure. Show him. There it is. I figured you could throw this over the lamp. I don't know if there's anything else you can use as the red for this, but that's the one I know of off the top of my head. Well, what do you think? It might work. If we do as you say, it should give us just the right kind of light we need. Let's give it a try. Please place it over the lamp. Sounds simple enough. All right, now we gotta put it over the lamp. So let's go back to the bathroom. All right, there's the lamp over there. And just use on the light there. I cover the lamp with the red wrapping. It looks like it'll do the trick. Yeah, the reason why you have to do this is not to expose the photos. Otherwise, it'll basically ruin them. So, time to let Charles see my handiwork. Okay, looks like we're all set to get started. Now we've got the right kind of light. We can begin to develop the photos. Charles, let me do it. Why? Sure, if you like, but have you ever done this before? Not even once. Why are you making us do this game? It's like one of the few times Kyle actually wants to do the job, so. But alright, whatever. Then maybe you should let someone who knows what they're doing take care of it. But then again, if you really want to try. Oh, alright then. I suppose I could talk you through it. You'll find the freshly printed film on the workbench next to the toilet. Place it into the liquid filled tray and move it around until the image appears. When you're happy with the image, it's clear enough, remove it from the tray. It's very important you give the paper adequate time in the liquid. Not too much though. The timing for taking the photo out is critical. Come on, kid, it's not rocket science. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and save my game just in case. Whoops. Let me back out really quick. Just in case I make a mistake. So, all right, we'll go. Let's see. Yeah, we'll save it on this file. Mainly because it is possible to mess up here. So, Okay. Because otherwise we could mess it up, so. Alright. Let's look at the workbench looks pretty straight. Yeah. Whoops. I meant to click on the actual thing or so. There's a workbench with stuff for developing photos on it. Okay, so what's this? This must be the freshly printed film. Da 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 da. Okay, so you know, basically need to. Oops. That might be good enough. The game's pretty lenient with it, but I was worried I might make a mistake. Looks like I'm a natural. Nice to see you again, Frank Raver. Yes, the old man. I take the photo of Frank. And now I just need to compare this photo to the film. If you do mess it up, you get a game over because you basically ruined the film, so. I just need a photo to compare him to. Did you get a clean image, Mr. Hyde? I like the fact that he's actually red in this because he's in the room while the other character stays the original setup. Yeah, piece of cake. Maybe I should change my career. Very good, Mr. Hyde. While you were doing that one, I got some other photos ready. Maybe you'd like to compare them. I take the photo of Tony. I take the photo of Will. Alright, let's look at the photos. Alright, so what we're supposed to do is we're basically supposed to look at the photos. And then figure out like which one's which. So we'll just examine them anyway, so. So let's examine Tony. Drunk old Tony. And then there's Frank. Photo of Frank developed from Charles' film. This is photo of Tony. Got this photo from Charles. And photo of Will. Got this photo from Charles. I wonder which one we should compare out of the three. Nah, it's Will. So we gotta compare it with the whoops, not the 8mm film. So time to compare the photo with the 8mm film. And then we just have to go down the thing until we find the person with the picture on it. So, okay, seriously, game. There we go. That's what we're looking for. Da 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 da. Oops. Bingo. Hold on. There's a camera there with them. Maybe he caught something on film. That settles it. The person on the film was none other than Will White. I had to figure out what the hell he was doing up there on the 4th floor. Mr. Hyde, how did you go? I knew who the person in the film was. Turns out our mystery star was Will White. Really interesting. But what do you think he was doing up there, though? I'm afraid I haven't cracked that part yet. Well, I would go and ask him, but I doubt he'll tell you, and if you ask nicely. I'll get to the bottom of this, don't you worry. Okay, I'll leave it to you. I guess I won't be in this film anymore. Might as well return it. Thanks for showing me this, Charles. I've gotta go. Okay. So was Will. I think he and I need to have a frank Q&A session. Alright, he's in... Whoops. Hit that button again. He's in room 306, so... Nobody's home, huh? Huh? Door to Rio 305 opens. Looks like Mr. White hasn't been home since yesterday. Charles, do you think it would be that simple? What are you on about? Sure, I know you told me that you were looking into him and his activities, but does that mean you're just going to meet up and ask him a couple of questions? For somebody who used to be a detective, I was hoping for a more exciting approach. It's not like the movies, dude. I can't say I'm not disappointed. What do you expect me to do? Kick down the door or something? Charles, if you got something to say, just go and say it already. Okay, Mr. Hyde, I will. I believe I know far more about Mr. White than what he gets up to you than you do. Well, you say? Well, that's because I had my eye on him for a while now. You mean you've been watching him? Yes, keeping tabs on his movements. He's rarely home, but there's somebody who visits room 306 on a regular basis. And when he does come home, he goes out again very late at night. It's almost certain that he's not a real salesman. You need to do a lot more than ask questions if you want to get to the bottom of this. Yeah, what do you have in mind? Torture? Very funny. I bet you should definitely take a look around in room 306 when he's out. Now might be a good chance to do so. Fancy yourself a bit of a detective yourself, do you? Not quite, but 2 sets of eyes have got to be better than 1, right? I suppose you got a way to get in his locked room too, haven't you? That's easy. We can use some wires to pick the lock. Way to go, Charles. Outstanding. Maybe a brief stint in jail will help you add authenticity to your story, too. If you want to get caught, trust me. Maybe he says so. Charles? Stop! Ah! Dylan and Charles. Yeah. Oh, hello, Charles. What was Dylan doing in there? What on earth were you doing in there? Giving it the stink eye. I was just... Well, I was just passing by and heard a noise. I knew Mr. White was out, so I was worried. I figured I could see if I could find out who's making the noise by peering through the keyhole. That's what happened, isn't it, Mr. Hyde? Yeah, just like the kid said. When I was just about to take a look, you bust out. You took me completely by surprise. What were you doing in Will's White's room, Dylan? Nothing much. I was taking care of something Mr. White asked me to do. And what was that? He asked me to turn the water off while he was out. Turn it off? Why did he ask you to do that? Prepare to move out, of course. I got a spare key, so I'll let myself in. Don't people normally turn the water off last before moving out? Dylan? It's just like I told you. I only do what he asked me to do. Anyway, I have to go now. Dylan looks flustered as he moves away and disappears. Uh-huh. Well, that was interesting. Dylan's being more sketchy by the minute. That was quite the shock. Some quick thinking on your part, though. I'm not proud of it. I've never really liked Dylan. That felt horrible. Usually, you can tell when people lie if they've never done before and don't like it, but I guess Dylan was such fluster they didn't notice. Glad to hear it. Beats being a pathological liar any day of the week. I'm sure it does. Speaking of Dylan, wasn't he acting a bit strange? He seemed to be unusually panicked. Yeah, not his usual suave self at all. What is it, Miss Hyde? The door, it's open. Is it? Looks like Dylan fled before locking this thing back up. Guess you won't be breaking it into anywhere today, kid. Then no such chance, Miss Hyde. Let's go inside. Hold it. We can't both go in. One of us needs to stand guard. If we're both poking around in there, somebody finds us, it's gonna hit the fan. But I don't know anything about the fan, but you're right. Why don't you go inside and I'll stand guard another way? That'd work. I've got a good way of alerting you too. If somebody comes by, I'll knock on the door to let you know. If you hear me knock, and try not to make any noise inside the room. When they've gone, I'll knock again and you can continue to get around. Do you think that'll work? Suppose I'll have to. So this is Will's room, isn't it? This place has less taste than dry bread. Can't imagine anybody would actually live in here. Very minimum. But anyway, we want to make another save here. Not that, I mean, I probably won't fail at it, but this is another case where if you're not paying attention, you could make a mistake or whatever. It's really just a certain situation, but still. It's always best to have it anyway, just in case. Alright. Now let's take a look around. What the? Huh? Damn, this is a bad time for the phone to ring. Beep. A threatening voice sounds out from the phone. Guess you're not in there, so I'll just relay this message. The goods have been obtained in the same way as usual, and the money is in the usual place. Beep. The hell was that about? Huh. Anyway, let's take a look around. There's a label on this box, but nothing's written on it. The boxes are all sealed shut with copious amounts of packing tape. One of the main boxes stacked up in the corner. This one looks like it's been opened and then sealed again with more tape. Something's been written on the side of this box, but it's too smudged to read. The corner is full of cardboard boxes. This must be the stuff he's taking with him when he moves. There sure are a lot of boxes piled up here. Can't get this one because there's another box on top of it. We'll move the box then. The blind is pulled down over the window. We want to make sure we hear a very specific sound though while we're messing around though. So keep that in mind. There's a mirror hanging above the wash basin. There's a few dirty marks on it that look like fingerprints. Huh? Why are the sink and its surroundings so clean? Yet the surface of the mirror is dirty. There's a wash basin next to the kitchen area. No signs of dirt or stains. All in all, it's pretty decent shape. There's a shelf above the sink that has nothing on it. There's a thin layer of dust and otherwise it looks pretty clean. A wicker basket serving as a trash can, one of the few items in here that feels homely. There's a reason refrigerators are generally white. Oops. Another set of cupboards with nothing exciting in them. Not much to say about these cupboards. No dirty dishes in the sink, no sign of use of all. I'm not convinced he's ever used his kitchen. Cupboards under the sink, check. No evidence of any prior use, check. I'll choose not to waste my time looking in those drawers. Looking at the stove, there's not a mark on it. This guy's no clean freak, he just never turned it on. It's one of those locked cupboards. Their secrets will forever remain a mystery. I don't think he's cooked anywhere near this extractor. I think this is just a front type of place. Another apartment, another set of built-in cupboards. There's a few bits and pieces on Will's shelves. Doesn't look like he used any of it lately, though. This may well be the dustiest bathtub I've ever seen. Looks like it's never been much use. I'd rather not think about it in too much detail. I hope the shower curtain was always that color and didn't somehow rot through non-use. That's the shower head. I bet if I dusted the taps for fingerprints, I wouldn't find any. There's a small mirror on the wall. It's pretty clean, actually. I'm surprised. Unexpectedly, the toilet is one of the less disturbing parts of this room. There's a spare roll of toilet paper on the top of the tank. Handy. That's weird. I can't see any shampoo or any of life's other essentials. I'm not sure I could live like this. It would seem kind of creepy. Whoops. I didn't mean to click the toilet again. Glad there's a healthy supply of toilet paper, at least. Just if you want to use your bog roll or anything like that, so. I wonder if what's on this side. The door is slightly open. I'll bet there's something interesting in here. Best not to get my hopes up, though. A snazzy blue jacket. A smart gray jacket. A flashy white jacket. Doesn't look like he's wearing all that much. Yeah, nothing there. Let's take a look in the closet. There's a safety deposit box at the bottom of the closet. Now this is quite a find. Wonder what I'm gonna find inside this thing. We don't have the code yet though, so can't do anything with it. So back up. And it's no good. This thing's not gonna open. If only I knew the combination for it. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Remember that for later. Okay, nothing else in there. The duvet covers a nice calming shade of dull gray. Can't judge Will for not making his bed properly. I tend not to either. There's a plain white pillow on the bed. The thing's looking kind of threadbare. A good sturdy bed. There's no denying Cape West has decent beds. The blind is caked in dust. For the amount of dust, I guessed it hasn't been open for a long time. If I was feeling mean, I could probably rack up big phone bills for everyone in the building. Hey, it's my favorite kind of lamp. This old wooden table seems pretty bare even for this place. If I was feeling mean, I could probably rack up... Oh, wait, I meant to check the answer machine. An answer phone. Maybe if I listen to the other message, I'll find something out. Beep. A threatening voice sounds out. The plan is moving ahead as expected. I'll contact you again with the details on the item. Beep. All the preparations have been made. The item can be changed hands in the usual manner. Beep. My acute detecting skills are telling me something. Will White is definitely not a regular salesman. But what type of salesman? Or a salesman at all? Oops. Don't need to do that. Okay, now that I checked the actual stuff. There's a trench coat lying on the arms of the sofa. The whole thing is wrinkled and damaged. The blind is pulled down over the window. Next to the sofa is a small brown overnight bag. As coffee tables goes, is pretty stylish. A whiskey bottle, there's still some left. I've seen this brand of whiskey in the cafe, too. There's a low ball of glass on the coffee table. There are a few melting ice cubes in it and some water at the bottom as a result. It's gonna stain the table! A pair of black leather gloves. Huh. In my professional opinion as a former detective, I would say these look sleek but sturdy. There's a black case on the table. The case is locked and there's no getting in. I can't see a keyhole in this thing. Instead, there seems to be some kind of round indentation. How do you get this thing open? The front of an old newspaper is lying on the table. Wait a minute. Looks like the pages of the section are missing. The date reads December 1955. 1955? Could be mistaken, but... the piece has been cut from this paper. Looks like it could be the article about my dad that I got in the second order sheet. Da-da-da-da. I take the newspaper front page with the section missing. I hear the sound of somebody knocking on the door. It's a signal. So don't do any. Basically, we just need to not do anything. Because otherwise we'll get a game over. I hear the sound of somebody knocking on the door. Okay, all clear to keep looking. Okay. Yeah, if you move at all, you get caught, so. Anyway, we want to go back into this closet here. Now that we've checked everything else, I think it's the gray a smart gray jacket. Not really my style, but I have a look in the pockets anyway. What's this? There's something inside. Looks like some sort of magnetic key. That indentation. We have to check the case for this to occur. I take the magnetic key. Maybe if I use this key. Alright, now we go back to it and use the key on the thing here. Alright, use the item. Magnetic key. This was in the jacket in Will's room. What kind of lock is a magnet? Okay, here it goes. I use the magnetic key to open the case. Bingo! Ah, there's the camera. In the case is a single lens of reflex camera. It's a camera? Strange, it's much lighter than I thought it'd be. Ah, now I see. This thing's just a toy. When I shake it, I can hear something rattle around inside. There's a letter set inside the case. This isn't the first time I've seen this. It's exactly the same letter set used for the order sheet. Interesting. I take the letter set. Does this mean he's the sender, though? Return to sender. Address unknown. If there's a notebook inside the case, it has a black leather cover that's old and worn. There's something written in it. You'll find information on the item on the right of the third floor display case. The guards change at 10 p.m. and the alarm bell on the door is an old type. What the hell's this about? We'll communicate using the usual means. Check the mirror. Check the mirror? What's he gonna see there? His reflection? Huh. Interesting. Okay. Well, anyway. Oops, I didn't mean to click that again, so. Take a look at that letter set. Letter set. Found this stuff in Will's room. It's the exact same design as the order sheet. Front page. This is a 25-year-old newspaper. There's an article cut out from it. Okay. Well, anyway, they said check the mirror, huh? Well, let's see what the mirror is all about. There's a mirror hanging above the wash basin. It has a few dirty marks on it that look like fingerprints. Time for me to give the mirror a closer look. Yep, sorry. The mirror's covered in dirt. Can't see a thing on it. So we had to figure out how to open it up. So what we need to do is basically we need to heat up the mirror to and then let it run. So that way we can create steam. There. 836601. And by the way, this number is random. So you can't use this playthrough to cheat that code. There's got to be more to it than just a plain old mirror. Oh, whoops! I forgot to. I think I forgot to click it. Whoops. Let me do that again. There. Okay. So 836601. Okay. Just making sure. Oh, whoops. No. Oops. Just in case I forget. Even though I have bad short-term memory, so. Alright, back to the closet here. And this. Ta-da. Money and a passport photo. At least that's what it looks like from here anyway. It's open. There's a passport inside the safety deposit box. What have I got here? Looks like Will's passport. Will McGrath? The passport is in the name of Will McGrath. Hang on. McGrath? So Will's surname is the same as the manager of the hotel. Curiouser and curiouser. And this is all on Christmas Day, too. I take Will's passport. I hear the sound of somebody knocking on the door. Not again. Guess I better keep the noise down. And once again, we just basically do the same thing, so. Yeah, don't move or anything. I hear the sound of somebody knocking on the door. Okay, all clear. Keep looking. Well, I didn't need, I wanted to check the money. I just checked the passport first. There we go. There's banknotes inside the safety deposit box. A stack of banknotes. Where did he get so much cash? That doesn't look like that much cash. Maybe in 1980 that's a lot of cash, I don't know. Will's passport. Will's passport. Will's real name turned out to be Will McGrath. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to the table. Now this won't happen until we take a look at his passport. So there's a black case on the table. So let's check the camera again. Seems there's something inside the camera. Now I have to play a mini game to get the item out. So now we have to put a specific date in there. What the? Am I supposed to put in a date here? Okay, so you have to put in the. Let me look at the note again. So whoops. Well, it's we have to put in 20. Maybe do it the other. Yeah, November 28th, 42. Oops. There we go. Haha, ta-da. It's a weird, yeah, it's a weird type of like puzzle box or whatever. But yeah, it's, you have to look at Will's passport and it says that date on it, so that's the date you're supposed to use, so. That did it. What's this? It looks pretty, it's pretty tattered, but it looks like it was a postcard. Also, I can make a signature on the edge. Michael McGrath. Wasn't he? I take the torn postcard. Why on earth would anyone want to stuff half a postcard from the hotel manager into this toy camera? I suddenly get a hint of a presence other than my own, but it's already too late. I feel the muzzle of a gun pressed up against my back. There's nothing I can do other than stay still in amazement. I can hear a cold voice from behind me say, "What are you doing here?" "Just having a look at your room, do you mind?" I needed to find exactly who you were. How did you get in? We must have been so busy we weren't paying attention to Charles or whatever. "What were you looking for in here? Speak up!" "If you want me to talk, how about putting the piece down?" "I'm a reasonable man. Sure, why not?" The pressure on my back disappears. "How'd you get in here?" "The door was open, so I just came in." "You're gonna have to do better than that. Unless, of course, you want me to put a bullet in you." "It's the truth. This place was already open. Dylan left it that way after he came out." "Dylan? What the hell?" "He said you'd asked him to take care of something here before moving out. He used a spare key to get in. But being the numbskull he is, he left without locking up." "Funny, I don't remember asking him to take care of anything." "Maybe not, but it doesn't change the fact he was in here. If you don't believe me, take a trip down the hall and ask Charles too. He saw it too. He'll tell you exactly what I just did." "Let's assume I believe you, for now anyway. Maybe Dylan was... Was what?" "Nothing. No, that can wait. The more pressing issue was what to do about you. I'll have you answer a few more questions. Let's start with what you did while you were sneaking around in here." "You twisted my arm. You sure you want me to say it all out loud, though? I mean, I think I've just pieced it all together. Your secret and such." "Don't kid yourself. There's no way you know what I've been doing here." "But do I?" "What?" "Nice try. I'm onto you." "Nice try. I'm onto you." "Oh, you are you? Well then, let's just see how much you think you know, shall we?" "For starters, I know what your real job is. You've been earning a pretty penny too, by all accounts." "And what do you think I've been doing all to earn all this money?" "I know plenty more than that. I know all the lies and deceit too." "Oh? And just what do you think I've been lying about?" "Well, your identity. Simple. You faked your identity." "What?" "I've got your number." "You've got nothing, that's what. You don't have the first clue who I am." Okay. Let's start the showdown. Where do these banknotes come from? "Banknotes? And where did you come across something like that?" "You know damn well." "In your safety deposit box." "I looked in your safety deposit box." "You did what? You opened the safety deposit box in my closet?" "Yeah, what's the matter? Surprised I got into it?" "There's no way you could have got that thing open. The only person who could possibly open it is me or the intended recipient." Well, we kind of read the clues, so. All right, let's ask it. Let's give him his real name. Your real name is? Yeah, Will White. No, Will McGrath. Will McGrath. Ridiculous. You already know my name. Come on, do you take me for an idiot? Your name's Will McGrath. Can you actually hear yourself? Have you got any proof to back up your outrageous claims? I mean, yeah. But we'll go on asking him about the next thing, so. Actually, we'll just ask him his real name again. Your real name is Will McGrath. I'm afraid not. My real name is Will White. Come on, do you take me for an idiot? Your name's Will McGrath. Can you actually hear yourself? You got any proof to back up your outrageous claims? Well, we need to show up our outrageous claims. The will passport. I was just seeing if there was any extra dialogue, so. Which there slightly is, but not by much. Take a look at this. That's my. Right, it's your passport. ... So your real name is. Are you gonna tell us this time? Will McGrath, that's your real name after all. It is. Well done. That's me, Will McGrath. Sound like some kind of cowboy or something like that, so I don't know. What are you trying to trade? I'm sorry? What are you trading in exchange for the banknotes? It must be something fairly significant for the price you've been paid. Save your breath. I've had enough of your damn prying. It's not gonna be your day then. My prying's just getting started. You've been pretending to live here in this apartment, but your real job means you have to creep around secretly at night. Am I wrong? You'd be wise not to cross me any further. You started this conversation, remember? Maybe it's gonna take a bullet to shut you up after all. Yeah, I'll take a rain check on that. Besides, I doubt you've got the balls to shoot me right here in this place. If that's what you think, is it? Think about it. If you shoot me here, how long is it gonna take the other residents to come running? And I'm sure you aren't looking for any more publicity. Brave words for someone in your position. So anyway, now I've blown your cover, Mr. McGrath. What to do about it? Luckily for you, I'm not gonna rat you out to the police. If you must know, I only snuck in here to find out something I've been investigating, in the hopes of unveiling the truth. And I think you could shed some light on it. I see. Well, Mr. Hyde, would you care to share it with me? What exactly are you looking for? What do you mean by the truth? It's easy. I want to know about 25 years ago. ... Once I found out you were Will McGrath, I realized that you were connected to the murder that happened 13 years ago. Me connected to the murder? And how do you figure that? Well, it's because you're the victim's son. I'm afraid not. The victim of the murder 13 years ago, Kathy McGrath, was the manager's wife. McGrath's a common enough name. Just because we share it doesn't mean I'm related. You seem to enjoy jumping to conclusions. There's no jumping here. It's all based on evidence I have. If that's the case, please show me. Okay, so we need to show him the postcard we got. So, torn postcard. Take a look at this. I opened up the toy camera inside your case. The postcard I found inside bore the name Michael McGrath. Same name as the husband of the victim, Kathy, 13 years ago. He was the manager of the hotel at the time. Why have you been hiding it? Now that you've shown me this, I suppose there's no sense in denying it. You're right, Mr. Hyde. I'm her son. Kathy McGrath, the victim of the murder 13 years ago, was my mother. All makes sense now. Damn, I never would have guessed you were related to the victim. ... No use in keeping quiet now. Might as well talk. What do you want me to say? Tell me everything. I want to hear exactly what you hope to gain from all this. I have absolutely no idea what you're saying. I live here under a false name, I'll grant you that. I'm a guy who does a job I'd rather the other tenants didn't know about. The same guy whose mother was murdered in the past. How's that for the truth? So now you know everything. What do you have to say? Wow, that was almost half convincing. You think I was born yesterday. There's no way in hell you told me everything. Oh? Last chance, spill it. What have you been doing in this building? What were you trying to gain by using me? Time for you to cut the bull and tell me the truth. Why are you living here in this building? Yeah, he's the one who sent Kyle this whole situation, so... What are you up to? Nothing, I'm just a tenant. I'm living here just like you are. Whoops, I meant to inquire. You really don't give up, do you? There's no reason behind anything you're saying. I meant to inquire on him. You're just wasting your breath trying to deny it. Time for you to cut the bull. Yeah, I meant to inquire. That was an accident. You expected me to believe that? Yeah, you're looking for the culprit. What? The case surrounding your mother's murder was never solved, so you're trying to find out who the culprit is. Maybe I am. What of it? Some of what you're saying is close to the truth, but you're not quite on the money. Mr. McGrath, do not get cryptic with me. I'm not searching for my mother's murder. I decided to live here after I found out who did it. Mr. Hyde, you and I have shared very similar experiences. Both of us have had a parent murdered. Your father was killed 25 years ago and my mother 13 years ago. Both cases remain unsolved. What are you getting at? However, though our paths are distinctly similar, we have adopted different approaches. You were once a detective, yet you choose not to look into your father's case. You're even living in a place that may still be able to shed light on things, but do nothing. You're not even trying to find out the truth. But that's the reason I'm so angered by you, and the reason I chose to point you in the right direction. Are you for real? So the other sheet was your doing. That would be telling. Come on, you told me this much. No sense stopping here. Which direction were you trying to point me in? That's simple. And what do you mean with what you just said now? You said you had distinctly different approaches to our prospective pasts. Tell me what you meant by that. It's all about something I possess, but you don't. A burning desire to get even with the person who is responsible. I'll not rest in the person responsible for my mother's death has been made to pay. And since the justice system has failed in that attempt, I must get revenge. Oh dear. Well, let's see what's going. So who killed Kathy? The main person responsible is already dead, but their accomplice is still around. Their accomplice? Are you referring to Miss Patrice? Right, first time. I moved in here in order to be in position to take my revenge on her. I originally intended to crush her throat with my bare hands, but then something appeared and got in the way of my plan. Interesting. What kind of revenge? What kind of revenge are you planning? Wouldn't you like to know? Pitiful, just pitiful. Now, Mr. Hyde, that hurts. So you're just gonna use me to get your revenge and I'd be none the wiser? I mean, you knew what I did on this side, so you sent me the order sheet, right? ... Found all the evidence I need to pin it on you in this very room. What evidence might that be? Okay, so we need to get the... So we can either show him the front page or the letter set. Doesn't really matter. We'll show him the letter set. Here's your evidence. This is... It was you, wasn't it? You sent me the order sheet. Congratulations, Mr. Hyde. What kind of revenge are you planning? I wanted her to put up to her own crimes to show me how repentant she is. Then do it yourself. Don't involve me in your dirty work. You still don't get it, do you? It's much more fun to have somebody else do it. You're sick, man. Spare me your moral posturing. You took the order willingly. No doubt you've been having the time of your life roaming around the building, reliving your glory days. And it didn't take you long to realize something either. You realize that if you found the Scarlet Star that went missing 25 years ago, you'd be able to uncover the truth behind your own father's murder, too. How the hell did you know about that? What interest could you possibly have in my dad's murder? I heard about the incident from 25 years ago. Somebody working at the hotel at the time told me. Who told you? Are you referring to Michael McGrath? Michael McGrath, your father, he told you, didn't he? Yes, that's right. My father told me the truth before he passed away 3 years ago. He helped me understand what exactly happened on that day 25 years ago. Now what got in the way of your plan? I learned that my mother's murder was triggered by the incident 25 years ago, and I learned that that was due to the involvement of an organized crime syndicate. Crime syndicate? Yes, and not just that, one that you're very familiar with. None other than Nile. What'd you just say? Nile were involved? Shouldn't be was. Anyway. They were indeed. How did they come into what went on here? That's something I can't help you with, I'm afraid. All I know is that their involvement in the incident complicated matters. So what happened 25 years ago? A safe was broken into on the premises of Hotel Cape West. The item stolen was known as the Scarlet Star. The person who stole it was your father. What? It's true. My father died 3 years ago, right after telling me everything he knew. It was the first time I was able to see the entire picture. So you didn't know before then? No, my father and I never really saw eye to eye. I left home as soon as I could. After that, the only time I met my father was at my mother's funeral. Later, he collapsed due to an illness, and the next time I saw him, he was dying. I hadn't seen him in 10 years. He was in a weakened state and needed my support. Before he drew his final breath, he spoke to me. He told me he was sorry, that he had something he needed to say to me. He went on to inform me that a man named George Patrice had killed my mother. There was no evidence, but he knew for a fact it was him. Is he seriously trying to tell me that Mag's husband killed Kathy McGrath? So he then thrust that torn old postcard in my hands and told me something else. That everything started 25 years ago when the Scarlet Star disappeared. It's the last thing he said. That there was a man who stole the Scarlet Star from the hotel safe 25 years ago. He tried to tell me the name of the safecracker. He struggled to speak the words, but never made it. His final breath has been exhaled. He died a wretched and lonely old man. Wasn't the way he wanted to go. What happened then? After spending the time to look after my dying father, I had a sudden change of heart. Although previously I hadn't really cared for him, these new emotions changed that. Almost without noticing, I was clasping his cold, lifeless hand and making a promise. I promised I'd get to grips with the truth he imparted to me. Get to grips with. Yes, I'd find out everything and bring it to light. Make sure that all the circumstances surrounding my mother's death are known. I used the partial hints that my father had left me and started to piece it together. I researched the building, the key players, and I learned that George Patrice was already dead, but that didn't deter me. I had to refocus my efforts on his widow, who had turned the hotel into apartments. Once I had covered that information, things got really interesting. I learned that the son of the person who cracked the safe 25 years ago lived here too. Now, how'd you make that connection? How'd you know that the person who cracked the safe was my dad? Do you really want to know? Oh, well, here goes. The reason I knew was that he was in the same business as I am. I have my own very thorough means of finding out things like that. And that's what you use to determine Niall's involvement too, right? Precisely. It also proved useful when it helped me learn about the job she did behind the scenes. My methods were infallible. Kyle Hyde's son lived in this very building, oblivious to the events of the past. It was priceless, but made me think. I had to find a way to make you start looking into things. And that's when you decide to send the order sheet? Right again. But it seemed I underestimated you. Before you unearthed the truth behind Miss Patrice and the Scarlet Star, you discovered the truth behind me. Didn't you think it was bound to happen? What will you do now? May sound a little boring, but nothing. You found me out so easily, after all. If I attempt to delve any further, I fully expect Niall to come knocking on my door. Niall? Yes, they've clearly left their mark on this building. If I even so much as try to cover the fact behind their operation, I'm a dead man. Please don't misunderstand me, Mr. Hyde. I'd like nothing more than to make them pay. But I realize the consequences, and I think it's time for me to release my grip. And you can live with that, can you? Certainly. As long as I'm alive, there's always a chance I can know the truth someday. That's the promise I made to my father. And for the time being, I value my life above all else. I see. The real question is, what are you gonna do now? As long as the order remains valid, I'll do what I always do and track the item down. And answer that does you credit. It's my job, after all. And the reward that waits for me at the end is more than enough to keep me going. As it should be. In any case, take this. Strange time to be giving gifts, wouldn't you say? Well, it is Christmas, so I take the torn postcard. One more thing I forgot to mention. When my father thrust this into my hands, he told me that this was a vital clue to discover the Scarlet Star, and that Mr. Hyde is all I can tell you. Will leaves the room. Well, that was a low drop, that's for sure. Who would have known? That Will was a part of this in his own way. Huh? Thanks, Charles. Is everything okay, Mr. Hyde? Yeah, just peachy. I was waiting for a moment. You took the words right out of my mouth, kid. Did you manage to get away okay? Yeah, just about. He came back while I was keeping watch. I didn't want him to see me, so I quickly made my way back to my room. Sorry. Don't worry, it was quick thinking. Besides, it's not like I could have hidden in his room. I guess you're right. I found out some useful information, though. You know the murder victim from 13 years ago? Turns out Will's her son. He is? He's not planning on coming back here anytime soon, either. It's probably best if you just forget all about him. He's not the kind of guy you should be associating with in any case. I see. Thanks for the advice. I'll still clear of him as well. Charles moves away. So I finally discovered who sent me that order sheet. It was Will White. I never would have guessed he would have been behind it. All I could think about is finding the truth behind what happened 25 years ago. I think I know what I need to do. I think it's time I gathered my thoughts about all that happened. We're getting close there, viewers. December 25th. Tony came to my room and gave me Rex's notebook. Written inside was a reference to Condor and a man named Jack Green. Said they had both disappeared in 1967. Rachel kind of looked into the name Jack Green and found out that he was a reporter. Right. Jack Green worked as a reporter for a publication called Los Angeles Beat. Rachel discovered that he'd unearthed certain truths about Condor, and he'd been murdered before he could reveal it all publicly. After returning Sydney's record to him, we had a chat. This led me to want to talk to Max regarding her late husband. Her husband, who was killed 13 years ago, went by the name of George. Right. Max's husband's name was George Patrice. He was the proprietor of several successor eateries around town. Max went on to explain that he was killed during a robbery that took place 13 years ago. Once Max and I had concluded our business, Rachel contacted my pager. Got her on the phone, then looked into the photos from the album on the 4th floor. I made the startling discovery of a certain person in one of the photos. That person was Max. Right. It was none other than Max I discovered in one of the photos. It was in a photo showing a party dubbed Scarlet Star. In it, she was wearing the necklace she still wears today. She looked a lot younger in that picture. From a photo in the 8mm film that Charles showed me, we noticed that Will White from room 306 appeared in both. Charles agreed to help me when I decided to go in and get a closer look at his room. Thanks to the contents of the safety deposit box to the postcard inside the camera, I was able to discern a certain truth about Will. What I found out was he was using a false name. Right. I found out that his real name was Will McGrath. Turns out he's the son of the late manager of the Hotel Cape West, Michael McGrath. The postcard and passport I had uncovered inside his room proved it. After Will returned to his room, I put him on the spot to get some straight answers. He confessed to having been the one behind the mysterious order sheet I'd received. He went on to explain that the reason because he sent it to me was because he wanted to avenge his mother's death. Right. The reason he sent me the order sheet, it was because he didn't want his mother's murder to remain unpunished. He also shared a new, startling revelation with me about 25 years ago. The person who snuck into Hotel Cape West with the intention of cracking the safe and stealing the Scarlet Star was my dad. I could only stare dumbly at Will when he told me. The truth that Will shared with me didn't reveal everything, but at least another of the building's mysteries has come to light. Why am I so keen on uncovering the truth behind what took place 25 years ago? Thanks to him, I now have an outline that puts things in a better perspective. Now I know for sure, if I search for the Scarlet Star, I'll also find out the truth behind my dad's murder. In addition to those, I've also begun to consider something, that there's even more to this whole mystery than meets the eye. I have to uncover it all. End of chapter. And by the way, we will read the novel by the... maybe I'll do it either at the end of the game or as a bonus episode. I'm trying to think on that. But anyway, we learned a lot of information about Will White, our dad, and Max and everything like that. But it seems like we're getting very close to the end of this thing. A few more clues. But if we delve deep enough, will we be able to survive what comes in? Will some characters change their tune? Will we get a nasty surprise? Find out what happens next time in Chapter 9 of Hotel Last Window, The Secret of Cape West. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.